Welcome everyone to the next little vlog update. So the other day, where is it even? The other day this bloody Seagate drive died, right? I also made already a video, at least I think someone made a video of for not to ship bloody hard drive, because this is how I ordered the replacement. Western Digital, this is how, actually I made a tiny little mistake. I said in the video I showed that it was just like that in the static bag. I forgot it was in this card box, but so that doesn't matter much. It's like, yeah, without any other foam. But anyway, the point of today's video is like, yeah, I made the mistake of ordering the same, also, yeah, worldwide and Europe, Germany, very little stock of this stuff. I made the mistake of ordering a Western Digital drive as a second, the same from another supplier. And it came even properly packaged, thumbs up for that. But then some really crazy stuff happened. I wanted to show that. So first of all, this foil, I should have made a photo, make already some photos. This foil is probably not as visible, but this is not a Western Digital foil. So this, the print is already somewhat faded, and it didn't look particularly pristine. And then I cut it open, removed the drive. It's like, yeah, the drive was obviously not new. Also Amazon Marketplace, very little stock, but yeah, I don't know what the signs here are there, nah. And also some scratches. Then it turns out, by sheer luck, is it visible? Maybe it could potentially be visible somewhere there, but doesn't matter too much. By pure chance, I looked there on the date manufacture 2018, and because this drive just failed some 3 months or so after the warranty, or 2 years, thank you very much. It's like, shit, 2008, don't tell me this drive already comes with warranty expired. And sure enough, entered the serial of this as totally new SUC drive. Here also, yeah, worldwide supply. How short is the supply? It's like, yeah, you get here some smart data. However, set 0 hours, 0 spin-ups, or actually maybe it's set 1 spin-up, 0 hours and 1 spin-up, because one probably my own, right? But 0 hours and stuff. So the drive was kind of new, but warranty obviously expired. So yeah, thanks for that. I called the seller. It's like, yeah, your warranty you get through us, doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, thank you very much. I called Western Digital just to be on the safe side. And then I set the serial number, said, can you hold some minutes? Like, sure, I knew something was up, right? So it turns out, yeah, thanks for waiting. 5 minutes later, thanks for waiting. It's like, yeah, this is too old. This was sold earlier. We can't give you warranty. And then I said, yeah, well, it's a little bit shitty for the consumer, right? I can send it back, obviously. But then something I noticed entering the serial number there, I noticed, wait a second, it says Western Digital Portable Wireless or whatever shit. Said, excuse me, still had Western Digital on the phone. I just realized something. What product does this serial number belong to? So yeah, this portable Wi-Fi thing there. It's like, yeah, but I only got the drive, right? Like, oh yeah, that obviously, yeah, someone unbundled that, right? So, thank you very much. So yeah, first I thought, I asked the seller for a discount, and it's like, yeah, what do you do? I don't really want to have a drive without warranty, and all those supplies next to zeros, like, yeah, whatever. But then it turned out I plugged it, I have it here in the RAID array rebuilding, but I noticed it has not very fast read speed. So all my other drives have over 100 megabyte read, and this one, it starts at like 100 in a Ryzen 3950X even, right? So it starts read speed at 100, but quickly degrades 70, 50, and then it just after a couple of gigabytes read speeds of below 50 megabytes. So I don't know if that is normal for this 4 terabyte Western Digital drive, but given that it doesn't have warranty, came scratched and not in an original. I mean, obviously it's unbundled from a portable, but yeah, crazy times, right? One pandemic later, and you can barely, well, CPUs, I'm lucky I got one, but most people not. GPU, I wish I could buy a GPU, latest and greatest, because I have here some RX 540 or whatever that thing was. NeoFetch says 560, yeah, 460, 560. These things, this bloody T skew. It's like, yeah, GPU, yeah, obviously, you guessed it. I'm not spending to double and 3 times the money. Anyway, mostly wanted to share this stuff. From now on, I will be much more careful. So I will also disassemble this soon here live on this channel, right? I will obviously send this drive back because I neither want one without warranty nor a slow drive. Super annoying. And from now on, I will even pay more attention. I was somewhat careful. I mean, obviously, I noticed immediately when I got this out of there. It's like, yeah, this is not. Or do I even? This is, yeah. I noticed on the static back already. It's like, yeah, this is not genuine, Western Digital. And from now on, I will be even more careful. I don't want. I'm really tired of failing and broken stuff here, and be careful then with the serial. Maybe if you run it for more than a hobby, or even if you just run it for your hobby, check maybe the serial, not that the warranty already expires in a year or depending on what you get there. Last but not least, some more stuff. So I thought I have all the LVM, because previous video when I said this LVM RAID stuff, not the most amazing to use. I actually just thought after some hour here and there on this LVM2 stuff, like I'm getting a little bit used to it, although I still would say the commands are a little bit, I wouldn't say cryptic, but somehow between convert, reduce, and not displaying the RAID level and stuff. Yeah, it feels a little bit Git-like cryptic to use, but I thought, okay, I get the hang of it, it's doable, it's not that bad. Today some more stuff happened. So first of all, I edited a couple of nodes also for myself, right? Because there are like 100, 200 subcommands of random stuff. And the most important, I mean, I usually, even I, who has a Linux distribution, runs a Linux distribution, needs to Google this stuff, because obviously who should remember all this LVM2 stuff? But so hot adding here your another RAID device. And so this works. I've done this with this Western Digital drive. But I guess I've not yet fully confirmed it, but previous video where this LVM cache stuff wouldn't boot with grub, and I have again the issue that I think after I added with LV convert stripes 3, that I think it's due to that grub doesn't see this. So right now I rebooted the server with a USB drive. I'm not yet sure. I'm mostly, it could be theoretically also some AFI or whatever, something stuff of previous videos, but I'm relatively sure maybe grub, because now the type set I think I have here that here somewhere, like that, and LVM conf maybe. Also not this. Because this state now says reshape data offset. So I'm relatively 95+% confident that it's due to this reshaping of transforming a RAID 5 of 3 drives to like stripe, like you see device count 4. So I'm relatively confident that, but or does it also be on the root volume? Let's check that, by the way. Anyway, but yeah, crazy stuff. The more you look into it, this is, of course, most normal administrators never see that. Did I reshape or here's root. Root, read, write. Yeah, shit, I also reshaped that here though. Also later I reduced it, but this reducing now it's complete chaos. The problem is also due to the nature of the super complex commands. Sometimes you anyway need to be careful. If you just do this, for example, here in my case I have an NVMe SSD here for caching. If you create small stuff, it will randomly, or preferably, I don't know, maybe randomly, maybe depending on the order of the devices or something, allocate that on the NVMe device, right? So you, anyway, maybe if you have mixed disk of totally different type, maybe you want to specify the drive explicitly. Most of those commands here accept optional explicit drive commands, which in my opinion is not so a little bit harder obviously to manage, especially if you have more than a handful of drives. Think 100 in IBM or SGI rack or something. Anyway, I just wanted to share that note. The usual pro tips here. So that is that. What else did I find? Also, yeah, right. Also, when I thought, because the last time I had some RAID recovery some years ago, it was like total cluster F. Also because there is not that much to find on Google. Maybe nowadays there's a little bit more to find, but I have the feeling most people don't necessarily run this kind of stuff, or either have a backup or don't want to recover that, or don't publish it on the internet. Anyway, now that I've finally like tested and got used to that stuff, some really strange stuff happens. For example, I don't want to do that now because this reshaping stuff, yeah, it's still rebuilding, so 31%. I need to get this bloody Western Digital drive out of there again to send this bloody drive back. But what happened is I think after I reshaped this, I don't know what crazy stuff is happening there, but if I now run, theoretically I probably could also test this or show this live here. Like let's put here a small one because I don't want that this runs so long. If we cache this now on the NVMe, the last time I tried this didn't work with some corrupted metadata something, and it didn't power cycle, it didn't reset, it didn't crash, so somehow the metadata got out of sync by itself, or yeah, here. So I didn't do anything special. The only thing I did is grow this RAID from 2+1 to 3+1 drives, and now I can't cache it anymore. So I have no idea. So I didn't crash it. I don't manually fiddle it. I didn't power cycle it. It didn't spontaneous reboot. Nothing, right? Totally just running. And so this is rather bizarre. And this is this stuff that, well, I document here, but also drives me crazy. This, you would think after 30 years of Linux, this stuff is like totally rock solid, like rocket, NASA, space capable stuff. But I don't know, lack of details, lack of testing, complexity of the stuff, 100 options, and maybe only half of them work somewhat reliably. Totally annoying for me, even as a Linux distribution maintainer and full stack developer. So yeah, removal of pool metadata also. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is I don't even want to remove here something, right? It's just LV create type cache something, and it's like internal error, manual intervention, removal of pool metadata, spare logic, something disabled automatically. It's like, what the freaking heck is even going on there? I have no idea. I didn't ask for any removal, and proceed, no, whatever, and manually remove this cache. Yeah, I probably completely recreate a completely brand new RAID device because somehow this is now borked. So thanks for that. LVM2, as amazing as it was last week. One last thing, because you guessed here, right? If you are a full stack developer from the Linux kernel, compiler, Xorg, and everything, you see a lot of stuff. I've certainly seen most package sources over the decades, and so last night I thought, wouldn't it be nice? I was wondering, is there some facility to like crypto mount, to have in an etc fs tab some kind of marking for crypto stuff? Because right now I only run crypto full disk encryption on the root volume. T2 has explicit support for that in the init. In the init ID. If the init ID device is of crypt setup, Luke's stuff, then that is automatically set up by T2's initRD. And this is also what differs between all the distributions, because not everything of this stuff is standard, and what you sometimes see me here write here in shellcode and stuff. And I was wondering, for servers, wouldn't it be nice to have some like this serve area here of where you have data or backups or whatever, have this full disk encrypted. And I was looking into util-Linux, where mount resists and crypt setup. What is here with this crypt? So one thing is crypt up. So basically I was poking around in the what developers do at midnight there, reading the freaking source code, which probably maybe more people should sometimes do, and we do here live on this channel. And to my surprise, I would have expected mount to have some support for that, or crypt setup to have some support for that, but no. You see here grabbing case insensitive, recursive for crypt tab in util-Linux, and crypt setup, it only finds your stuff in FAQ of release notes. And wait a second, there is nothing in util-Linux? Apparently nothing in, was there not something in? The crazy thing is util-Linux has some support for crypt setup, but you can even compile it with crypt setup, but it's not even entirely clear to me what exactly that does, maybe only block ID stuff. But yeah, this is really crazy in my opinion. And then I searched further. It turns out that systemd, of all things, of like the cancer of the Linux ecosystem, has support for that. So if your distribution supports crypt tab, then as far as I could find, that support lives in systemd, which is a little bit unfortunate for those who don't want to run this cancerous systemd thing, because it's C and one monolithic stuff of doing everything differently, and I don't like that for so many reasons. And so this is super crazy for me, right? So the future of Linux, where everything goes into systemd and your normal utilities don't even have freaking support for that anymore. That is really strange. If I would like totally believe in the future of Linux stuff, you could add support for that in util-Linux, but that is increasingly, as seen on this channel, I can't do everything, and I don't want to spend my time writing C stuff in this util-Linux stuff. So that is rather crazy. The Grabber says Jan to has support for that. Yes, this is just what I said. T2 also has support for that. So T2 has exactly support for unlocking your root partition in the initRD. But that's it. What I wanted to do. And also, funnily enough, I realized that since some time, util-Linux just recently, aka the last years, util-Linux mount has now support. If you have your civs or so server in your FS tab, you can now serve, I don't know, something like that here, serve mount that, or office share, whatever I have there, and it would ask you for your SMB, civs password. It didn't do that before, so that is new. Previously I always mounted with username, me, and password, obviously password or stuff like that. And that is relatively nice, and this is why, only because I noticed util-Linux has support for that now after a decade or two. For that, at least I've only seen that recently, that maybe it has this for crypt setup, but no, it doesn't. Rather curious, but yeah, systemd, obviously state of Linux stuff. The Grabber says most of the drive encrypted. That is amazing. Where do you enter the password, or is it in a crypt setup? The problem is I can't make it that early because I don't usually want to boot my servers, at least currently, with initRD with secure shell support. So what I was thinking is the server can boot from a non-encrypted root partition, and then only when it's booted and the administrator or someone here on our or your side mounts some file fault that to enter the password, then when the base system is booted, especially if you have more than more than one drive. The Grabber says passphrase for the boot drive and key file on the encrypted disk, so only have to type my passphrase once. But so where do you mount them? You mean, I mean, your other drives? Do you explicitly, or do you have some UI for that, or just like manual mount that, or do you? How do you manually crypt set up looks open those, or that is a question. My idea was to have this in etc fstab or etc crypto. Also, in my opinion, etc it would be more elegant if this cryptab stuff wouldn't exist and everything would be in etc fstab with some extended syntax there for marking encrypted things, but that is unfortunately not. The Grabber says they're mounted in fstab automatically. You mean on boot, or but it sounds then that maybe Gentoo has some patches. If you say this works somehow on Gentoo, so normally that I found, you see, I grabbed here util-linux encrypt setup, and it doesn't have here much in there. On boot, okay, I wouldn't want this on boot. On boot, I only want my root volume, everything needed to boot, so that regular secure shell comes up, especially on servers. On boot, yeah, you could loop over all of them, maybe even etc cryptab or something. I would actually, due to the boot nature of that, I would want my server to boot without that and then mount a file serve fault, whatever. Especially if you do this on boot on a server, on a headless server in the other end of the room or data center, then you would need some secure shell initRD thing or something. Anyway, last but not least, here's a typo if you want to earn your cent of that. Grabbing over that, I found there's a typo in the man page of crypt setup. There's crypt tab misspelled with one T. The more you know. But yeah, a little bit. The Grabber is surprised it works. Well, on boot is one thing. Again, normally it's in systemd. This boot stuff is in systemd. Maybe I have this code also. Again, instead of one drive, I could just change it to iterate over etc crypt tab. But again, on boot, I wouldn't want to have the others. And exactly this thing of having this in, like mounting this manually. Maybe you can take a look if you can make this work like with etc fstab no auto and delayed as in user input of mounting something. Would be interesting to know. But yeah, I wanted to share these details, and for me it's always surprising that there are so many details always of not implemented, not finished, of missing and stuff. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you learned something. Also to double check what kind of aged drives with scratches and unbundled you get. And otherwise with LVM2, as always, better test and double check that stuff works. Also recovery and other stuff. Also, as I've done in previous videos, not try experimental stuff in production. Like I've usually here run fired up QEMU and tested that, for example, not with 4 drives, that is too much for me, but just with one NVMe drive that is good enough for testing. 4 partitions of 5, 6, 7, 8, and 32, whatever. NVMe obviously is so fast and I/O operations per second that you can nicely simulate with one NVMe drive passing n partitions to your virtual machine to test all this fancy LVM2 commands to better understand what's going on. And Hilpert asked why LVM2 not BetterFS. First of all, the RAID stuff in BetterFS was always not considered stable. Secondly, recently they even finally deprecated that of warning not for production. And second of all, I believe, similar to my regained passion here for microkernel of separated address space for stability and security, I believe, it's actually not a belief, I found with 20 years of experience it to be better to have clear boundaries of APIs and interfaces, and not like one monolith doing everything. So for me, that is a much more natural separation for stability, also to have the physical device logical management and some file system on top of that, is probably proven correct in terms of BetterFS having RAID 5 and 6 or so, never particularly stable, and now officially, as far as I remember to have read somewhere, deprecated. And that is also what in our upcoming new microkernel stuff I would prepare. I think also 5 and 6, I guess, but in general, even RAID 0 and 1 and 10 and so on, I would in general not want to have in my file system, because as you see, 10 years later is still not fully the most stable, and I would expect with a clear level. Also, this RAID stuff is not that complicated of splitting the I/O in 0, 1, or should we always count? It's a little bit unnatural to count with starting with 0, right? So maybe I start with, yeah, actually 1 to n is obviously more mathematically, logically. So with n drives, splitting I/O to 1, 2, 3 to n devices is not that complex. Yet in any case, as you see with all the different caching and SSD caching and so on, and much more thin provisioning and all the 100 features that LVM2 supports, it's certainly nicer to have that stably separated and also accessible for other file systems, to have that hopefully, yeah, stable. We see how that went. You see all the features in LVM2, and even that is quirky, and then mixing that into file systems, I have much preferred that separated. So last but not least, the Graver never bothered with soft write, cheap smart array, something cache 10 years ago, it's still going strong. Drive died and just hot swapped, started rebuilding right without intervention. That's yeah, I think in general there, people also previously commented this hardware write always glitchy and vendor tools and this and that, and then this latest and greatest NVMe and so on, beside better control management and so on, and being able to convert swap drives. And anyway, that's it for this video. If we talk longer, then less people watch it and only blame me for 40 minutes of uncontrolled blah blah, which, yeah, 30 minutes. That's it for this video of storage overview of this week. I hope, well, it's not yet over, as I have to send this bloody drive back somehow. 2021 can't even order bloody hard drives anymore. Yeah, see you next time.